parking. Customer parking has to be on Federal. Employee parking needs to be somewhere else. I don't think if it's going to be on the east side of the building, that's not gonna be enough room for employees. And it's gonna be a real, to get in and out of there because of the cars going around the corners. But you definitely have, why it took so long from 2019 or 2020 until now, doesn't make any sense to me. That's about all.
Thank you so very much. Next we have Lenore Dumas, followed by Stephen Cadero, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
Good evening, Council. I would like to raise my concern. Regarding the project of the marijuana dispensary at 6691 Federal Boulevard. The project would have severe environmental impact to this area, including that, but not limited to the increased traffic near the intersection of Central and Federal, with no plans including traffic control for this intersection, which I will T-bone through there. This section of Federal Boulevard is primarily heavy industrial, not during the day. Federal Boulevard is made up. The street majority of the traffic includes heavy commercial motor carriers due to being the only street that accesses Edco, Thompson Building Supply, and many other operations or deliveries. During the late nights, Federal Boulevard remains busy due to the street racers and other motors speeding up and down Federal Boulevard like it's a freeway due to limited of the activity of the police, because they already are down to their skeletons as far as monitoring this road, including motorists who have often taken over the intersection of Central and Federal for the purpose of unsafe section and legal drifting competitions. This is also the area of Federal where there's no sidewalks, with no plans to create sidewalks, even though it will create additional foot traffic on the road and poorly lit. This increases the probability of pedestrian and motorcycle accidents. In addition, traffic attempted to turn left on the Federal from Central often experience blind spots when vehicles are parked along the road and east side of Central Avenue. Approving this project without increasing traffic control will only cause these blind spots to be more frequent, as local dispensaries in the area already have more customers than do have parking lot spaces. Allowing for the dispensary will be no different. This will increase the probability of motorcycle accidents on Federal and Central. Further, there's already 3 medical marijuana dispensaries located in the intersection of Federal between Federal Boulevard and 94 westbound ramp. In addition, dispensary is not necessary will contribute to the becoming known as a medical dispensary, bringing increasing crime occurrence of driving under the influence and impacting the residents who must use Federal Boulevard to travel to their home. Not enough consideration has been given to the impact of additional. Anyway, I need copies for you.
Thank you so very much, and we do actually have your statement here. So the council members will be able to refer to your statement. Next we have Stephen Cadero, followed by Manola Clark Manson.
Stephen Cadero, Central Avenue, and we're concerned about the dispensary also. We're gonna have a lot more traffic going up and down Central, and I'd love to put the speed humps on Central, slow them down, Sanborn Avenue, because we happen to have more traffic. And like John Wood says, traffic control lights would be great, you know, again. I walk Trevor Boulevard all the time, and there's no place to walk, you get cars parked on the side of the street, everything. It seems like we get all that shit in down here. You know, and not when you put the dispensary up there at the center of Lemon Road. You know, it seems like you get all the crap down our end, that's all. So, you know, just something to think about, you know. Cause they hit my house 3-4 times already, you know, more than that, since I've been living there. So.
Thank you so very much. And finally, we have Enola Clark Mason. Manson.
Hello, or good evening, it is evening. I have a few points and some things I'd like to draw your attention to. The point was made that 43% of our customers are 40 and over. I think what is more important is that 34%, almost 35% are 21 to 29. These are the people who have the least amount of impulse control, the least amount of belief that they're going to do anything that's going to cause harm to anybody else in the near future. I would like to have some kind of education being required for that population around intoxication and the law and what you can do when you're smoking or using any of these products. I think it should also be noted that 74% of this population that is customers for this store are below 50. So it really depends on how you're choosing to group the numbers on what this means. My concerns are about the sidewalk. I keep hearing the sidewalk is going to be part of this building, but the architect didn't talk about it. It's not in the plans that we saw here, so I want to make sure that that sidewalk actually exists. And I like the idea of the crosswalk. And we didn't hear clearly who's making the lines in the streets for the bike and the whatever else is happening that needs to happen for this. Who's responsible for that? Who's paying for that? It wasn't in the plans.
Thank you so very much. And I will take this opportunity to allow staff to respond to some of the questions that came forward during the public speaking portion of this item. So I'll turn it over to staff.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. We do have a traffic and parking analysis that was submitted with the application for this cannabis dispensary. It's prepared by Lynn Scott Law and Greenspan, dated January 26, 2023. What this traffic study shows is that Federal Boulevard is a Class 2 collector, has currently built with a two-lane roadway separated by two-way left turn lanes. It has sidewalks on most of Federal Boulevard. This project would absolutely is conditioned to provide a sidewalk. The sidewalk would be the responsibility of the applicant, developer of the dispensary. Not only would sidewalk be provided, it would be sidewalk, curb, and gutter along the entire frontage on Federal Boulevard. The striping of the Class 2 bike lane and parking lane would be the responsibility of the applicant to do that restriping and the sidewalk. Getting back to the traffic study, Federal Boulevard from Central Avenue to San Miguel Avenue has a capacity of 24,000 vehicles per day. DBT, or average daily traffic, is 13,100. It's operating at an acceptable level of service C. When we talk about level of service in traffic, level of service A is the best condition, down to level of service F, which is the worst condition for traffic. The traffic study also did a VMT, or vehicle miles traveled analysis. The traffic engineer concluded that there's not enough traffic generated by this dispensary to trigger or require a detailed VMT analysis. This project would generate 410 average daily trips. Compare that 410 ADT to the capacity of 24,000 of Federal Boulevard. That's a very small portion. It's considered to be a less than significant impact on traffic. Traffic analysis is typically provided for the benefit of the decision makers to decide if this project is going to generate so much traffic, it's going to cause problems in the future. Our traffic studies and analysis show that this would not be a significant increase in traffic. For traffic signals and crosswalks on Federal and Central Avenue, that would require really if the council wants to study that intersection in the future for traffic light or crosswalk, that's something that we could pursue. It would require a traffic warrant to see if a light is even warranted at that intersection. But it's not something that we can really require of the applicant using an existing building for a similar commercial use to put in a traffic signal and crosswalk. Federal Boulevard is posted at 40 miles per hour. If people are exceeding 40 miles per hour, then they're speeding. That's a law enforcement issue. With regard to Choyas Creek, the condition is that the applicant provide an easement, a maintenance easement, not just for maintenance, but removal of invasive species. That's complete removal of invasives, not just chopping it down, but complete removal of invasives and restoring that Choyas Creek to more pristine, appropriate condition. Customer parking. So the parking is split, and there is also room, a lot of parking on street on Federal Boulevard. So the larger parking lot is back on the south side where the employees would most primarily park. Customers could park along Federal Boulevard and also park in the parking lot on the north side of the building. Okay, let me continue. With regard to too many dispensaries and location of dispensaries, dispensaries are not allowed in residential zones. They're also not allowed within 1,000 feet of schools, parks, playgrounds, and other sensitive uses. So that limits the land area within the city of Lemon Grove where dispensaries can actually locate. And that just happens to be on the northern end of the city where we have the light industrial, commercial, and heavy commercial zoning. The remainder of the city is residentially zoned. So that's why you're seeing these dispensaries come up on the north side of the city, because that's where they're permitted by the voters of the city of Lemon Grove, the way that when Measure B was passed. There was a comment about speed humps on Central. That is not really appropriate to put on the applicant of an existing building. And that's something that the city could study in the future if that's a directive that the council would choose. And then, with regard to, the customer base, this is, cannabis dispensaries are really heavily regulated by the state, by the city, and going beyond the state regulation is not something that we've proposed as staff. That would be my response to the comments that I heard.
I thank you so very much. And so, at this time, I will give the applicant 5 minutes for a rebuttal or to respond to the question.
I'll make it fairly brief. We obviously agree with all of Bill's points, particularly addressing traffic and the footpath. We absolutely want the footpath because it obviously beautifies the site, but also makes it easy for staff and customers to visit us and do business. So absolutely fully in favor of the sidewalk, making it beautiful as possible, with all the ADA requirements and landscape when we go with that. With regards to traffic, obviously, yes, we would fully support anything that would alleviate traffic on Central Boulevard, and any future plans that the council may have, that works with regards to that. The customer base, yeah, look, obviously, cannabis dispensaries do skew younger. I would point out though that we skew a little older. The industry naturally skews younger, but certainly as a customer base, a patient base, Element 7 is reaching a slightly older audience. And obviously, I'm a father, as is Robert and a number of people within our business, anything we can do to protect youth and educate them better is something that we're fully supportive of. I think that was about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll now go to our city council to see if they have any questions for staff. Please honor the 2 question per person maximum. And I'll start with Councilmember Mendoza.
So I had a question about the sidewalk. Is it just gonna go from, the property edge to the next property edge?
Yeah, that's
Just
correct.
not beyond the property line,
It
but
goes
it will,
from property line to property line along the entire frontage of Federal Boulevard. And then when it makes the turn onto Central, there's an underground culvert for Toyas Creek. That's currently concrete. And beyond Central, that will be worked out with the city engineers for the appropriate sidewalk, public improvement conditions on beyond that small portion of Central Avenue that was project as frontage. The entire Federal Boulevard would have sidewalk, curb, and gutter, and it is provided on the site plan, provided by the applicant. The rendering, I have to admit, the rendering is a little deceiving because it doesn't show the sidewalk, curb, and gutter, so you'll notice that. But it is on the site plan that would be required also as a condition of approval.
okay. And then just a couple of concerns. And this isn't the applicant's fault at all, or a complaint against them. But the way the traffic pattern is right now on that street is, you know, if you come up to an intersection and you have to slow down ordinarily to make a right turn, correct? But on this street, because it's almost like I feel like San Miguel and Central are like on-ramps. Or actually off-ramps, they're off-ramps. So people are going 40 miles per hour, and then they don't have to slow down, they can just go whoo up that hill. And so I don't know if there's any way, that we could, the sidewalk could slow people down a little bit when they make that turn. That's always been my hope at San Miguel. You can't build anything at that turn. But here, I don't know if there's any way we could square that off a little bit. And I get what you're saying about, future traffic study. I mean, we might decide that we wanna do that, but if there is any way we can try to slow traffic down without a burden on the applicant at all, but maybe just a little tweak of the design, that would slow things down. And the other thing, just a little problem that happens there too, is there's a lot of people work at those businesses on Federal Boulevard. So I'm glad that you have sufficient parking, because none of your customers are ever gonna find a place to park in front of your business. And there's a lot of illegal parking and parking on the corner, which I think is gonna go away when there actually is a sidewalk there and a corner. I think that's gonna make that a little bit, safer. But, yeah, if there's any way we can design that to slow the traffic down a little bit, that'd be great. So I think those are 2 things. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember LeBaron.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First question is, actually, not approximately, but how many feet away is this business from Walgreens?
I don't know the exact figure, but it is over 1,000 feet. Here it is. The project site is approximately 1,500 feet from the nearest operating regulated use at Walgreens, 1,500 feet.
Thank you, Mr. Belchovic. My other question is, when was the last time that city staff did a safety study, a traffic analysis on Central leading to Federal, on Federal or on Central?
I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Councilman LeBaron, one has not been done during my time frame here. So if that is something that the council would like to have, is to do a traffic study to perhaps put a light up there. We can have that discussion when we are doing the CIP workshop that is still yet to be scheduled.
Thank you, Lydia. You've been here, how many years as city manager, 6 or 7? 6. So in the 6 years, there hasn't been a traffic study on 2 notoriously dangerous roads, Federal and Central. Thank you.
Next, we have Councilmember Snow.
I want to elevate some of the concerns and questions that members of the public had during their public comment, both the written versions and the and what we heard today.